Alright, this is Grandfather. Now, there are certain coordinations happening now, some of which will surprise you. Those of you in theaters of combat, meaning at war, might be noticing these things before others. I think some of you already have. It's your job, isn't it? Not always a pleasant one. To protect, to defend, and also to harm. Given that, many of you have noticed things lately. And that's that when you harm another, out of necessity, it's your job, isn't it? I'm not judging you. Very often, if you harm somebody, and this comes up in police work as well as in other situations, it might very well be something that resonates, doesn't feel exactly the same, but that you pick up a feeling in your own body. This is a way for you to understand something, everybody. All human beings on earth are more connected now than you've ever been. Alright? As far as physical beings go. So you can perhaps even be harmed by somebody. And that person that harms you will feel in their body, not necessarily where they harmed you, but someplace in their body, a discomforting feeling. I'm bringing this to your attention because it's going to be noticed almost immediately by psychologists and counselors. And I want those of you who are in those professions or allied professions to know that these things are real. And it's not about guilt, though in some cases it might be connected to that. But for the most part, it's an actual resonance, meaning a felt reaction to the harm somebody else is experiencing in your own physical self. I'm referring to it as a resonance because this is part of your tuning up process, so to speak, where you become aware of the physical feelings of others. The only way a society can truly advance spiritually, as well as comfortably, is if all the people in the whole society can tell in their own bodies right away if there is somebody somewhere that is not well. Then those who are near there, that person that's not well, will receive all the support they need to help the person who isn't well. Now that might seem to be very idealistic to you, but in fact this is exactly what goes on other worlds, and it is how all beings stay in touch as well as maintain a benevolent society for all beings. Now, I'm bringing this point up because there is a distinct possibility that this will be noticed by more and more of you before the end of this year. You have noticed some troubling matters in this year, and I'd like to tell you that that's all over, but I can't tell you that yet. I will say, however, that 2013 will be a lot better. And most of the troubling matters that are making the news on a regular basis these days will be greatly lessened. Alright? Meaning less of them. So, that's important to know. But for now, I want to encourage people who are communicating with others in some other part of the world to maintain those communications. Communication is one of the best things you can do now to understand how everybody is so very much like you. The differences between you will reside in your personality sometimes, yes. It will also reside in the different ways in which you've been raised, yes, there's that. Cultural differences, you might say. But for the most part, those differences represent a very small amount of actual difference. You are all really one being in the sense of your connectedness. I know you've been hearing these things for a long time, but I'm bringing it to your attention today, not because I'm picking on soldiers or picking on anybody in law enforcement. I'm bringing it to your attention because it's going to become so very obvious to so many of you within the next 6 months. So I want you to be aware of it so nobody thinks that they're crazy or losing their mind. You will advance greatly next year. Some of the reason will be that you'll feel relieved that 2012 wasn't the end of the world. All right? That was just a mistake somebody made, and it was well intended, but it didn't come to pass. Okay? So 2013 will be a lot better, economically, spiritually, and in other ways. Very possibly personally for many of you. So, this is a good time to network on the computer, on the phone if you can, in person, and to be open to sharing your experiences to the degree you're comfortable with other people, preferably friends or family. It's important for you to discover how much you are alike, and also, almost as important, to discover how very little you are different from each other. This goes for everyone. Good life.